Hi everybody, welcome to a Facebook Live with Jeannie. I'm Jeannie Nielsen, the card lady, almost here on time. What a difference a day makes in getting everything done. I have card class tonight, very excited about that. Had somebody this morning as well. Can't wait for all my ladies tonight. It's a Christmas card class tonight, so we're very excited about that. I am hoping this is going to turn out because who knows, but I have done my best. I actually was a little bit late because all of a sudden I came up with another idea of a card to do with you today, because today, this month, July, is Watercolor Month, National Watercolor Month. I don't know if that's a Stampin' Up thing or if it's a scrapbooking, stamping all over thing, but I've got some cards for you. I have two different techniques. No, actually, I think I have 4 different techniques, 3 to 4 different techniques. You can tell me what you think about them. One of them, and I'm going to start with the card that I just developed now. I kind of like it. I think it needs a little bit of something. I'm working on that. What it's going to need is a card base. I just realized that. But at least let me show you the technique, and then we'll just stick with the card that I already made. That's what we're going to do. Okay. So I'm going to flip down. I'm so excited to see you guys today. Please leave me comments, leave me some love. So excited to be here. It takes a lot to get on camera, and I'm ever so thankful that I took the plunge a few years ago, and I've met a couple of people that I've met online that have been following me. I've actually been able to meet in person, and of course there's my customers that are always so good to me and always follow me and watch me and give me love too. Let me show you the 2 things that we're going to make today. Like I said, it's Watercolor Month. So the first card is an Emboss Resist card. And the Emboss Resist technique is doing some embossing. And you know what? I've got steps to show you. But I just realized that I'm not in any shape to actually do the embossing in front of you because I left it over there. But let me show you the technique, and I'll show you the card. And the reason I kind of want to do it is because I want to leave it off to the side so it has a chance to kind of set in. I'm using watercolor paper, some Versamark ink. Hopefully I put that in my little bucket here. I think I did. Yep, it's in there. And then, of course, some white embossing powder. And I'm going to first emboss this watercolor paper. I'm going to set it with my heat gun, and then I'm going to take a tool, and I've done a couple steps so that I could do it. I'm going to take a tool, and let me show you the card, and then you'll see what I'm going to say. And then I'm going to do a tiny little 3D item with you as well. But anyway, here is the card. And like I said, it definitely needs a little bit of something, and I'm working on that. I've got to figure that out. When I flip down, you'll see it a little bit more. It's a little bit plain. I think, first of all, it's going to need a sentiment, and I think it's perfect for maybe a sympathy card. So what I'm using is white embossing powder, Versamark ink, the Amazing Silhouette stamp set, the watercolor paper. I have my watercolor brush, and I have Soft Suede ink. And I have a block, which is going to help me set the ink, or actually adhere it to my thing. And then I've already done a couple steps. So the watercolor paper is 3.5 by 7 inches. No, it's not. It's 5 by 7 inches. I'm sorry. And what I did was I cut the sheets in half to 3.5 by 5. Which is not a perfect set. You can see that this one I've already embossed. Can you see the little shine? You know what? I'm going to flip down so you can see it. I'm sorry, I'm not going to see any of your comments after this. Keep leaving me comments though, because I promise I'll respond to them. Because I have a couple things to do before class tonight. It may not be until after class tonight, but I promise I'm going to respond because I love hearing from you guys. Okay, let's flip down. I got my little basin here ready to go. Okay, so here we go. Let's see if this is going to work. Yep, today it's going to work. Okay, so here we are. I've got maybe I'll go over this way a little bit. Okay, so here is my card. I've got my grid paper all set to go because I am going to make a mess, I know. So this is my card. I've already embossed this one. I've actually fully completed this card. I'm going to show you the steps that I did to do this card though, because we don't have to do this all day. This is actually a really simple technique. And I'm thinking that maybe if this, instead of being soft suede, was black, it would show up a little bit better. It kind of gets lost in there. So that's one thing. And since it is a silhouette, that would work really well. I believe these are the Meadow dies. I pulled it out of my thing and I didn't even look, but I believe they're the Meadow dies. Of course, I added a couple of brass butterflies just because it needed a little bit of something. And I love this faux suede ribbon. Okay, so let me show you what we're going to do. Let me start here. I have here my watercolor paper. I've already cut. Normally your paper would be 3.5 by 7 inches. I've cut it in half. Landscape mode. I've cut it in half. What I'm going to do next is, and it's not going to show up, I'm just going to have to trust that this is here, okay? So I've got my Versamark ink. I'm going to ink up my stamp, and let me get the powder. So that you can fully get the effect of this. Okay, so because this is a big stamp, I don't bring my stamp to my ink, I bring my ink to my stamp. That is my rule of thumb when I have a really big stamp, especially one like this where I don't want to get the edges necessarily, even though I'll have a chance to get rid of that. So I've inked it up with Versamark, and I'm going to center it on my paper. So like I said, it's Watercolor Month, so this is just a technique, and I just tried it, which is why I'm a couple minutes late. Okay, see? We don't see anything. I don't even see anything. I honestly don't. There's not a bit of shine. I have no idea, but I'm going to believe that it's really there. I don't know if any of you ever had a frozen yogurt place orange leaf, but we used to have this. I saved some of the spoons. I've got my Glad containers, and what I do is I just scoop right onto, oh, you're gonna love this. It's like magic. I'm gonna show you in just a second. So like I said, I could not see it, but look at that. I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping that you can see it at least a little bit. I can see it definitely. I don't know if the light is catching it, so I'll just do it a couple different angles because I can't see quite for sure if it's there. But anyway, so what I would do next is heat set this. So I'm going to heat set this, and by the magic of TV, let me put this in a safe spot so that I can actually do this again later. By the magic of TV, ta-da! So this, I think you can kind of see a little bit of the shine now. What you need to do when you're embossing this, you need to keep turning the paper until you see that shine. There's a difference. When you start heat setting it, you kind of hold it in one spot and you see how the color of that particular powder changes. And once you see that, you look for that all over your paper. So I keep turning it until, and you can't do this in the dark for sure. You have to do this in the light, so you can use the light to actually catch that. Okay, so now this is where I make a mess. This is the fun part, especially if you like to make a mess. I have my water painter ready to go. I've got some water in it. I have to tell you a little story. For any of you that have water painters, I just about ripped mine apart because anytime I unscrew something, it's righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Well, I guess that is what it is, but for some reason, I just could not make this water painter open. So for a long time, I just kept dipping it in water instead of actually adding water to the barrel and then using it. So what I'm going to do is, and it's already brown because I've already done this, I'm going to add water actually to most of my paper. And the reason I'm doing it to most, and you're going to see it in just a second, I don't want it just over my image because then it's not going to really show what I want it to show. See, this is really dark, and I actually lightened it because I used a paper towel to dip up the excess. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I've got my Soft Suede ink pad here, and I have a block. This is the messy part, okay. I got my block. Just make sure you put some ink on it. You don't need a lot. trust me. And ta-da, see? And I'm gonna take a paper towel. I'm actually gonna wipe it off in between and do that once more. Because it's all wet, it kind of travels. And you see that it kind of avoids that area, but you know why it's avoiding that area? Boy, when I said this was messy, I was not kidding. But anyway, okay, let me close up my ink pad for a second because I don't think I need that too much anymore. What I do next is I'm going to take my thing. I could just leave it there and let it set, but I'm just going to kind of mix it over here. And even bring it a little bit to the edges. And when you're doing this, make sure you've got plenty of water. I'm squeezing as I'm mixing and bringing the water to the edges. I'm still squeezing, I'm still adding water. And it doesn't need a lot because of course it was plenty wet, you saw that. But now, because I don't want that anywhere, I'm gonna try this. See, I'm just dabbing it. Dabbing the excess, and it's going to eventually dry. And we're going to come back to this because I'll show you. So that's pretty much my card ready to go. Very similar to this one. I kind of like the lines of this one, but I do think that's a little dark. And like I said, I think I'm going to use a black silhouette from the Meadow die for the next time. But where did I put the rest of it? I don't know, but I actually don't need it, I guess, because I'm just going to tell you about it. I didn't bring the Soft Suede over, but here is my die cut all ready to go. I will do it in black, and I'll show you the finished product. This is my faux suede ribbon. So what I did with this is 3.5 by 5 inches. I did my Soft Suede 3 3/4 by 5 inches. It just looked like it was, just because it was going to not be centered in my, and I have a thing about centering things and having even on all 4 sides. I can't help it, it's a hang up of mine. So by making this 3 3/4 underneath, and I have to tell you another secret, I actually cut the die cut out of the Soft Suede here before I added it. Nobody knows that but you. So I've got my embossed resist there. I've got my thing. I added my brass butterflies, added it to a thick, very vanilla and card base. And voila, here's our card. So that's project number 1. And so this is embossed resist and using the block to add, and this would be almost like a sepia watercolor, I would say, because Soft Suede is definitely a very sepia color. Let me get this out of the way. And make sure you're signed up for my email list, by the way, because I give all the everything that I use to make these projects in my email every week that goes out on Tuesdays. Okay, got a cute another little project here. This is just a little gift card holder. This is to make you feel cool because I don't know about you guys, but I guess it's only about 85 right now, but we got some fabulous rain today. Really, really nice rain, but I think it brought in about 100% humidity because it's really bad out there. I'm changing this up a tiny bit, so you're going to see what I'm going to do a tiny bit, but I've started. So what we're going to do, we're doing 3 different techniques to color this cute little tag. This stamp set, by the way, is all bundled up. So all bundled up is a Christmas set in the Holiday Mini Catalog. My friend Judy has used this quite a bit. I had to open it because this is the first time it's seeing any ink. And it's really kind of a cute little stamp set. If you like adorable and cute, this is your kind of stamp set. Okay, so it's $23. I've started putting my prices on as I get them because I am doing BOGO right now. I have 6 boxes of stamp sets for sale. And let me tell you, it took us weeks to categorize, alphabetize, and price all of these products. So now I'm trying to work ahead, alphabetize my folders as they come and do all that kind of work. Okay, so this is the Celebration designer paper. And I'm not overly crazy about the back of it. And the blue to me made it looked Christmassy and wintry and fun. So nice and bright for a nice summer day. So I decided that this is what I was going to use. I use the mini pocket dies, and it's the first time that I took them out of the package, which is the other reason why I'm using them. Now, when you use these dies, it cuts out. I cut it on my strip of paper 5 inches by 12 inches, and you can get 3 of these out of a 5 by 12 inch piece of paper. I know you can't see this, you just have to trust me. I can feel it. I can feel the score lines. It embosses the score lines when you cut it out. So I will be adding this, I will be folding this on the score lines that I know are there. So I'm going to fold it, first of all, in half. And then, let's see, it just has a tiny lip on the side, just a tiny one. And I'm going to tell you a little trick about that. And then another one at the bottom. And then it actually has, I believe, a fold at the top too. You know what? That may not feel as obvious. So if you're going to do this, you should make good use of your bone folder, which I did just not. And it's ready to go. Okay, so I don't like that, which is why I'm going to fold that over like that. Yep, I definitely did not do that right. Okay, that feels scored now correctly. Okay, next, I'm going to add some tear and tape. And I've got my silicone mat here. And I want to show you this little trick. You see how narrow these edges are? They're really narrow. So you're not going to be able to fit a full thickness, full width thickness of tear and tape. So what we're going to do instead is put it here, and I'm going to overlap the edges, and it just tears. And that's why I'm doing it on my silicone mat, because you can see I've got lots extra there and I don't need that. If I was doing it on paper, that would tear my paper. So again, overlap the edge, just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to take off my tear and tape, and I'm using my take your pick tool, spatula end. I put it under the middle, and voila, that comes right up. I don't know if you've ever had trouble getting it started. I used to. Celine shared that trick with me, and it has made all the difference. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take my fingers and roll this in. I'm going to roll the edges in, just like that, all the way over. I'm going to roll it in. And I could, I suppose, have done it on the back, and I could have had it on the outside, but I'm one of those people that likes nice, neat, clean edges and ends. So, okay, so I'm going to put it right there. And it's still a little bit sticky because it didn't quite match up. I did a better job the first time, but I'm going to show you the trick for that. So what you're going to do is, I got my new, hang on one second. This is the new embossing accessories kit that was in the mini catalog. And I just love this. I don't know if any of you had this before. See, it's just coming out of the package now. This is a day for new stuff today. New ideas, etc. It's got a pair of tweezers. And these are the reverse tweezers. Very, very handy, especially if you don't want to burn yourself when you're embossing. Could have used that a minute ago. You've got your brush to get rid of your excess powder. And then, if any of you needed a new embossing buddy, here it is. So I'm going to show you what I do. I am going to use this, add it to my edge, and it's not going to be sticky anymore. So, and there we go. No more stick. Okay, so now let's get back to this project. This is kind of fun. This is definitely kind of fun. Okay, I have here next, this is like my box of goodies here. I don't know if you see this, but this is a box of goodies. I can get rid of this here, except that one of the other dies that I used was this little thing right in the middle. And I think that this would probably, if I had a brad, you'd kind of, you know, wrap it around. I didn't have time to investigate that today. So what I'm going to do instead is just add some glue right to the center. Right to the center. And I'm going to overlap the top flap and the bottom. So I'm going to put it right there. And I'm going to set this aside because I really don't need this anymore for a minute. I'll get back to that in a second. Okay, so now this is the fun watercoloring part. I have here a tag, and when I cut this initially, when I made this initially, I added Wink of Stella because everything has to have Wink of Stella. I was talking to somebody yesterday and she was saying if she could wear, she doesn't wear eyeshadow, but if she could wear Wink of Stella, she would wear Wink of Stella. You know, that's how much we are enamored with this Wink of Stella. Okay, so let me show you what I'm going to do here. Instead of plain basic white paper, this is the shimmer white paper. And I'll show you what we are going to do. I am going to take this block. This is very similar to what I did with the Emboss Resist, but I do have a method here, a reason what I'm doing. Okay, I am inking up this block with Balmy Blue ink. And I've got my spritzer, and I'm not sure if the spritzer has water and alcohol or if it was because it absorbed really fast, but it either has water and alcohol or it has water in it, but it dried really fast when I did it before. So what I'm going to do, without making a mess, I'm just going to spritz this block. And that's what that looks like. I didn't want to do it on camera because I'd get blue everywhere. And I'm going to try and center my block there. We'll see how close I did to centering. And up we go. Isn't that fun? This is a great technique. Oh, didn't want to get that extra right there. So let's see if we can get rid of that right there. Okay. I'm going to set this aside again to dry also because I've got other things I can do, kind of. Some of this I've done ahead, and with the magic of TV, you're going to see it. But let's try anyway. Okay, I have next a piece of basic white cardstock. On the other table, of course. I have basic white cardstock. This is going to hopefully dry. If not, I do have my heat tool here next to me. I have here black StazOn ink. And the reason I'm going to use StazOn ink is because I'm using water, and I'm going to use our watercolor pencils. And like I said, I had 3 different techniques for this little tag. So count them with me. So I've got the first one. And even, I'm glad I used the shimmer paper because even this, it feels a little flimsy just by adding the water. But anyway, if I stamped on here, which I did initially with my first project, where's my first project? Right here. My bird was blue. So were the boots, so was the scarf, everything was blue. So we didn't want that. So what I'm going to do instead is stamp. And when I use black StazOn or Versamark, I have to say my technique for adding ink to my stamp is different. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you can smell this over the camera, but this is my favorite smell. This smells like almond extract, and there's no better scent in the world, at least at this very moment that I can think of, than almond. I just love the smell of it. Just be careful if you do sniff it, don't get it too close to your nose because it does leave a mark, and it stays on, is very difficult to remove. I did it once. I really did. Okay, black StazOn ink in my little bird from All Bundled Up. We're going to stamp it. Hopefully I've got enough ink on there. Yeah, not bad. So there we go. Somebody gave me little tips. You know how with your StazOn ink pad, you've got a plastic cover and then you've got the lid. Make sure you never get rid of your plastic cover. And somebody put little dimensionals in there for me, and I had to stick it down a little bit better. I had to use my thing today and really stick it because it was still coming loose, but it's in there now. Then you don't have to worry about the plastic protector and the lid. If you lose this protector, you're going to be inking up your pad all the time because it won't have a nice tight seal. Okay, putting that aside for a second, and we're going to color our little bird. Now, there are 2 packs of pencils in our catalog, Assortment 1 and Assortment 2. Assortment 1 has lots of the brights, Real Red used to be a bright color. Now we have Poppy Parade there. And Calypso Coral used to be a bright as well before it went to the subtles. But now you just trust me. These are the bright colors, I feel like. And these are a little bit darker. Okay, so this one has Bermuda Bay and Pacific Point, Melon Mambo. These are all nice, and Daffodil Delight, nice bright colors, and I'm going to use them. I did not realize, I am so dumb, I've always been guessing what the colors are. I kind of knew that there were names on there, but I didn't really pay attention. Do you know that there are also numbers on there? And you can number them so you can know which one is missing. If you say, oh, I'm missing number 3. Well, number 3 is pumpkin pie. So go look for your pumpkin pie pencil. And the numbers continue here, 14 to 23. Oh, the other one, this one has Whisper White in it as well as for one of the colors. And I did do the bunny, and I kind of used it to make his tail fluffy, but the white is a little bit hard to get it to show up. So anyway, okay. So we've got, these are the other colors. I picked out a couple of pencils that I'm going to color my bird with. So first of all, I don't know if you can see, but he's got cute little rain boots on. I guess they could be snow boots since it is winter, but I'm going to color them with Daffodil Delight because I think any bird, if he was wearing rain boots, I'm pretty sure they'd either be bright red or they'd be bright yellow. So that's that. Next, I have a Pacific Point here. If I was going to, I don't know if you can see, it doesn't take much to color. Oh, and I kind of blew it, totally blew it. Because I wanted to make this one a bluebird, just like my last one was, and I totally kind of put the blue there. But I'm not coloring very hard, not very hard at all, which means he's going to end up looking kind of subtle and washed out. What I like to do instead is really, and I'll stay away from the belly, you know what, so that I don't do it, I've got my pumpkin pie, and I'm going to add that here before I forget. Just a little bit there to make him look like a bluebird. Okay, so now we're going to get back here, and let's make him nice and bright. So, of course, you can sharpen these pencils. I find that medium point, not too sharp, not too dull, is perfect for coloring. So sometimes you have to kind of wear down your pencil after you've sharpened it a little bit, because otherwise it's just not quite as easy to color with. Okay, so this is this. And then once again, I'm using Melon Mambo, and I'm going to color his scarf Melon Mambo. And you can see I'm adding a little bit of, quite a bit of pressure here because I want it to be bright. Because when I add my water or whatever, so this one is technique number 2, kind of. Yeah, it is technique number 2, or 3 if you want to call it that. I'm going to use my blender pen. The tip that I will give you is make sure your tip is clean. So kind of wipe it out first. And then start with your lightest color first. So I'll do the yellow first. And you see, I don't know if you can see, but there's quite a bit of yellow on my paper. And I don't want the yellow to go into my blue bird. So let's do the scarf next. And it's really easy. It doesn't take anything to mix this. Okay, what I'm going to do next is my blue, I guess. And if you don't do a good job coloring and getting all the spots, well, first of all, it's watercolor, so that doesn't matter. But second of all, if you've got a really good blender pen, you can kind of carry the pencil from one area to another. The ink will carry. So I'm going to get rid of the blue. Let's do my orange. And voila, there we go. You know what, maybe I'll give him a little bit of orange legs because I don't know what other leg to give him. Kind of missed his legs when I was coloring. Okay, so the next thing, let's hope I have it here. I do. By the magic of TV, I am going to cut this little guy out. And you don't need to see me cut this, but I will say that when you are cutting, move the paper, not your scissors. So when I'm cutting, I'm kind of moving my paper, turning my paper, just going like that. And eventually this little guy is going to look like this. Isn't that so cute? So now I've used my watercolor pencils, my blender pen. I've used my block to add the ink here. I'm going to take a dimensional and pop this guy up. Oh, but I do want to do one more technique before I do that. And I don't know if this is really a technique, but it worked, so it's kind of fun. What I did here, I'm taking I could take a blue ink pad as well, but I'm going to take my marker because it's just another way to add ink. And I'm going to use the brush side. There's a broad tip and a writing tip, which most of my writing tips don't work, I have to say, but it does. My markers are fantastic for coloring stamps, and they're fantastic for filling in some lines if you miss something. So, okay, so that I just colored my stamp, and instead of huffing on it, I am going to use my spritzer again, just really lightly, because if I do it too dark, well, I did, it's gonna make a mess. Let's see. So we're gonna go like that, and definitely go straight up and straight down. There we go. Kind of another technique. I just kind of played around with it today. I don't know if it's a technique or not, but it was kind of fun to do. We've got that. And then I'm going to add my little bird. I've already got my gift card holder. And I did decide something today. When you saw this first one, I used the iridescent trim. And last week, I think I said something about using iridescent trim on my cards as well. And I said I was going to save it for a 3D item. Well, you can do that. I'm going to use it for wrapping like my gift certificates and things like that, my gift cards. But if you're going to put something over it, it's still a little bulky. So I use my iridescent trim here, but this one I'm going to try a little bit different. I had a scrap of Pool Party, and we're going to see if it's long enough. This is the end of my roll of Pool Party. Don't worry, I've got 3 more rolls. This is absolutely my favorite ribbon. What I'm going to do, see, so because I've glued it in the middle, I can thread my ribbon through there. And if this doesn't work, I've got a backup plan. I've got my glittered organdy ribbon, which I would love to use too. But I happen to have this piece of Pool Party that was going to go to waste if I didn't. Now what you do is put your little gift card here. What I would put in here is my debit card that got violated this week, and just, no, I wouldn't, because it would get thrown away, obviously. I had to get a new debit card. Somebody from Idaho Golf Association got a hold of my debit card this week. Oh well, just one more thing to do. Let's try the other end. I'm going to thread this. I'm threading it through both because I want to be able to keep my tab closed. Okay. And what I was thinking, actually, I guess I could have done it to the front too, and then I could have untied it right there. You know what? We're going to see about that. Okay. So let's see if I have to see if I even have enough Pool Party ribbon to tie a bow, because that, like I said, is going to be my determining factor, because this was, I literally pulled this off the counter. I think I can do it with this. Okay. I don't want to rip this, but okay. And on this one, I did the ribbon in front, but I think I'm going to try doing the ribbon over here. So let's try this. We're going to tie this just like that. And the poor people are going to have to untie it to get at their gift inside. I think this is going to work. Yeah, just enough. Look at that. It's actually, well, maybe a tiny bit less than I would have liked, because this, let's see, this has to get smaller. Do you guys like tying bows? My people in class, I do it for a lot of them. They kind of hand it to me, and I pre-tie my bows for a lot of my cards when I do them, because some people just don't like tying bows, and for me, for some reason, it's a gift. Okay, so we've got that. Perfect. And what I'm going to do is add this little guy, my tag, to the front. And I'm going to do one more thing. One more thing I'm very excited about. I think this is going to work. I've kind of in my mind pictured it. I have here one of our wonderful snowflakes. What do you think? Should it go right there? Yes, and you know what I'm going to do is add the dimensional because it's a perfect fit in the back. I'm going to add my dimensional right there, and then I'm going to stick my little tag. Oh, you know what? It doesn't really show up, but you guys all know that it's there, and that's the important part, right? You know what? I just realized that's really not the best idea because you honestly can't see it. I'm going to have to, let's see if I can peel it away. Or you know what? I have one more in the package here. My very last one in my package. Let's put a second one there. I just love these. I had ideas of saving this paper and even using around this paper. This is why I haven't thrown it away. This is all nice and shiny and iridescent too. So that could work too. Okay, I'm gonna put this one off to the side. Just like that. And then this one, I think, because I can't peel it up, we'll put that right here. That looks a little bit better. So maybe it would have looked nicer with my ribbon in front, but I kind of wanted to try it. I don't know. What do you guys think? I do like it in front. It makes it look like a present, but that makes more sense because that's where you're going to untie it. This one, they're going to have to thread it through in order to open it. So I think this is how we're supposed to do it. So there you go. So technique number one, this one, you see I didn't do as much spritzing when I added the ink. So technique number one, you do the block, spritz it with water, add it to your paper. Do watercolor paper, shimmer paper. If you do the basic white or the very vanilla, it might soak through a little bit, but this one is just not quite as sturdy as this one. But then maybe that's why these actually ran a little bit, because the shimmer paper has a little bit of a finish too, so it doesn't sink in like it does on here. So that could be the difference. But anyway, it's kind of cute. So these are the mini pocket dies. And then don't forget, this is the Emboss Resist. So there we go. I'm going to flip up. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Oh, I figured you would love tying bows, Judy. You're just like me, my soul sister, my Stampin' Soul sister. Thanks so much for joining me today, guys. I will have the recipe cards for this in next week's email. So stay tuned. Have a wonderful day and keep stamping. Bye.